Let me introduce tonight's guest speaker, Serenity Belo, Director of Resource Development for NeighborWorks Housing Solutions. Serenity has been a nonprofit for more than 15 years. She started her career working in higher education and transitioned to focus her efforts to more local nonprofits. Most recently, she was Director of Development and Communications for Road to Responsibility, where she built and grew fundraising program that helped them become a recognized regional service provider. Serenity started with NHS in October of 2019. NHS is a diverse organization that is growing while still meeting the needs of the local community. NHS believes individuals and families thrive when they have a safe and affordable place to call home, and works to create affordable housing, provide resources, and promote homeowner education. They serve more than 11,000 households, including individuals, families, and veterans throughout the region. The needs for their services continue to grow, and they look to business partners, community members to help ensure that everyone has a safe place to learn, live, and thrive. Welcome to Weymouth Rotary, Serenity, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. I'm really excited to be here. I'm sorry that we couldn't be doing this in person. I was really hoping to meet you guys at the Mad Hatter. I've only ever been there one time, so it would have been a really nice opportunity. So thank you, Sherry, for inviting me to come and speak. I really appreciate this. And so thank you. Thank you very much. So I'm here to talk a little bit more about NeighborWorks Housing Solutions. You know, as was mentioned, I've been a nonprofit for more than 15 years. Full disclosure, I am a transplant, so I still have yet to master all of the names, and so if I butcher something or say something that's not correct, feel free to laugh, and feel free to just send me a quick chat to correct me if need be. But yes, so I have been in nonprofit, like I said, for more than 15 years, and I'm really excited to be part of NeighborWorks Housing Solutions because being in higher education, it was great, but having the opportunity to transition and work and be part of nonprofits that are really local and that do great work in the community is something that I'm very passionate about. NeighborWorks Housing Solutions believes that individuals and families do thrive when they have a safe and affordable place to call home. And I think that's a wonderful, wonderful mission that I know rings true throughout this region. So a little bit of history about NeighborWorks. So many of you may know NeighborWorks of Southern Mass. And so about a year or so ago, NeighborWorks of Southern Mass, based in Quincy, merged with Housing Solutions, which is an organization based in Kingston. NeighborWorks was founded in roughly 1981, and Housing Solutions was founded in roughly 1971. So both organizations had very similar footprints. There was a lot of overlap, particularly I think in Weymouth, and there had been a lot of collaboration on particular projects and services. And over the years, and in particular these past 3 years, it became apparent that in order for the organizations to really thrive and meet the growing needs of the communities, that it would make the most sense to come together with a formal merger. And so the boards met and came together, and on July 1st, a year ago, 2019, the organizations became one, and we became NeighborWorks Housing Solutions. The nice thing is both organizations really were committed and still are, even though that we are now one, to a more than housing approach, which means safe and affordable housing is a pathway and a foundation to family well-being and community and economic vitality. So some of the things that we do, we provide affordable housing. We provide affordable housing, we provide education, homeowner education and renter education, and we provide resources. And we do this, we provide these services to more than 11,000 households throughout the region, and that includes everything from Quincy all the way down to Plymouth and into the Fall River and New Bedford regions as well, and everything in between. With our two main offices in Quincy and in Kingston, but we also have two offices, one in Brockton and one in New Bedford as well. So over the years, we've developed more than 900 units of affordable housing, and we have about 470 units that are coming on board in the near future. In particular, we have 3 projects that we are continuing to work on. A multi-unit development in Brockton, right on Main Street, that will serve about 120 affordable housing units. We have a home that will soon be finished this summer in the Germantown section of Quincy, and that will be 5 units of affordable housing for 5 units of housing for adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And then we have a project in Marshfield that will be 8 units of housing for formerly homeless veterans. And so veterans housing is a huge piece of what we do. Additionally, we've educated more than 10,000 prospective home buyers through our home buyer education program. And we've helped more than 5,000 of those buyers purchase their first home and provided financial coaching for thousands of families. In addition to the affordable housing, education is a big piece of what we do, and nothing is better than an educated home buyer. We've provided foreclosure prevention counseling services for more than 3,300 homeowners, particularly since 2007. I think we all can remember the calamity and just the recession of 2007, 8, and 9, and what that did in the housing market, and particularly those impacted by foreclosure. We've assisted more than 1,500 homeowners to make necessary repairs to their homes, which would include lead paint abatement and also accessibility repairs. So many times a homeowner will purchase their home and they have small children, and those children will then come back testing positive or have high levels of lead. And what they need help with is affordable resources that will help them get rid of the lead paint to make their home safe. And same thing with accessibility. So sometimes there will be a family member that needs a wheelchair ramp installed in their home, and we have the resources that will help that homeowner make those repairs to their homes and modifications so that they can continue to live in their home and in their community. We've also counseled more than 500 senior citizens through our home equity conversion program, and this is really just counseling that we provide for senior citizens who are considering a reverse mortgage, and we provide counseling based on their specific set of needs and outcomes. We provide tax preparation for low-income families and individuals. Roughly, we do this for about 500 to 700 families. This year, because of COVID, we had to cut this program short. Normally, what we do is we fire everything up at the end of January or beginning of February, but we had to close everything down soon after we got the program started because of COVID. Particularly, these programs are offered in Brockton and in Kingston, and they're very popular, and the appointments always fill up. So since 2012, we've also housed more than 5,000 formerly homeless families, and also helped more than 500 secure better employment through our family self-sufficiency program. And this is a program that helps families who are receiving a subsidy. It helps them find employment or help them gain skills that will enable them to find a better employment, with the end goal, long-term end goal, where they're able to move off of that subsidy and into their own market rate rental or home ownership. And in fact, we actually had a woman who came to us in our family shelter. She came with her kids, and through the family self-sufficiency program, she participated she was in our shelter program, and then she moved into a subsidy, and she participated in our family self-sufficiency program. And I believe it was just last year, she ended up buying her own condo and she was able to take advantage of all of the programs that we offered, including our first-time homebuyer program. So it was a really wonderful story and a really neat example of just how somebody can take advantage or leverage all of these resources that we provide and really turn this around for her and her family. So we also are the administrator for the raft program in our region. So pretty much from Weymouth down through the South Shore and into Plymouth, we are the organization that administers the raft, which is rental assistance for families in transition. And these are funds that help families who are on the verge of becoming homeless. They might be facing eviction, they might be behind on their rent, behind on their mortgage. And we can provide through this state program up to $4,000 to help with back rent, back mortgage, or some other sort of expenses that are preventing them from paying their rent or paying their mortgage, or preventing them from that could ultimately end up in an eviction. So these are funds, and as you can imagine, as of right now with the pandemic, we have seen a huge demand for raft services for this raft program. We would average roughly 20 to 30 calls a week on our raft line, 20 to 30 calls a day maybe on our raft line. But since the pandemic, even with the housing courts closed, we have seen an increase of roughly 40 to 60 calls per day on our raft line. And many of our staff, including all of us who aren't in the raft program, we have all had to pitch in to help return these phone calls and direct families to get the resources that they need. And we anticipate that once the housing courts open up, of which I believe they might have even opened up today, that the number of phone calls that we receive will be even greater. We've also actually received specific funding to help specific towns. So for example, in Randolph, there is a program now that is focusing specifically on Randolph families to help them with back rent. And we got word that we also received special funding to help the town of Weymouth with families who are facing eviction or foreclosure as well. So we're really excited about those two programs, and particularly with RAFT, because we know that these kinds of programs really do help prevent homelessness, which is critical, especially right now. I mentioned a little bit about the construction of our 3 new residential properties that we have, the one in Quincy, the one on Main Street in Brockton, and then the third one, which is for veterans in Marshfield. And we're really excited about all of those. We anticipate Quincy to be done before the end of the summer, which is really exciting. And Marshfield, the home for veterans, we anticipate actually having an in-person, hopefully a very small modified in-person open house sometime around Veterans Day, which we think is really a really special opportunity for everyone. And it's been a wonderful, wonderful project that we've watched come to fruition, from basically the groundbreaking last November to this coming up over in this November. So, and we've had a very long-standing relationship with Weymouth. In fact, part of the Marshfield house, the Marshfield Home for Veterans, really came to fruition because of the work we've done in Weymouth. In particular, the veterans home that we have on Route 18 in Weymouth was what inspired the public officials in the town of Marshfield to want a home like this. We worked with veterans agent George Pontus, and actually one of your very own, George Raymond, also helped us with this project. And we were able to take a property that was owned by a longtime Weymouth family, and we created this home for veterans. Like I said, it's 6 units of housing. Each veteran has their own space, which, as we know, is incredibly important for many reasons, but specifically for veterans, so that they are able to be in have their own space and be able to work through whatever it is they need to work through. But these are 6 efficiency units. The home has an outdoor patio, it has raised gardens, and it has tremendous support from the neighbors and the community. And we couldn't be prouder of this property. In fact, I'm picking on you, George, that you have been a true neighbor to the men and women who live in this house. Because of the support that we've received from the community, and in particularly you, this has been the catalyst to help us help other members of the other vulnerable people in our housing during this pandemic. Regularly, we have been able to organize meal deliveries to most of our homes in the Quincy and Weymouth area. And this came because we got a phone call early on in March, or actually I should say Rob Corley did. Rob Corley is our president and CEO. And he got a phone call, and it was, and the phone call was, what do the veterans next door to me need? Can I arrange for food to be delivered? It was pizza, but it was greatly appreciated. And from there, we have been able to leverage with other organizations like the United Way to help provide us funding so that we could do that for so many of our other, particularly veterans, but other vulnerable populations in our residential programs. So as I mentioned, this home really did lay the groundwork for what we're doing in Marshfield. And the Marshfield town officials, in fact, it was Michael Bradley who saw this home. He's a selectman in Marshfield. He saw this incredible work that was going on in Weymouth, and in particular with veterans. And he said that he wanted this home he wanted a home similar in Marshfield. And so we're very excited, and we're proud to be able to be providing these types of safe and affordable homes for veterans, particularly now, because it is so needed in so many different levels. Across the street from this home in Weymouth, we also have housing. We took a vacant lot and put in housing, multifamily housing for formerly homeless families. And this home blends right into the community, and it has been a wonderful, wonderful addition to help families who have been impacted by homelessness. We also have units on Bridge Street for formerly homeless women in Weymouth, and we also support veterans' veteran families, and we have a home on Lake Street that does this as well. So as I've mentioned, we've had a long history with Weymouth, and we're excited that we can continue to expand and provide housing for some of the most vulnerable people among us, and particularly our veterans, because this is core to our mission, and we believe that particularly those who have served our country should never be left behind or not have a place to live. And through our merger with Housing Solutions, we have been able to continue to expand and continue to meet the needs of the people that we serve. And particularly now during this pandemic, when we are seeing such incredible numbers of people coming to us who are facing eviction who are behind on their mortgage, we have been able to really step up and serve these families and serve these people so that they don't have to face an unknown future. I mean, this has been incredible for all of us, but particularly when you're living on the edge already, it creates a higher level of stress. And we believe that everyone deserves a safe and affordable place to call home. And we are grateful that we can partner with towns like Weymouth and Marshfield and others, and businesses like you, to help our communities, because we all live and work here. And through our partnership and collaboration, this is how these communities can thrive and survive. And so I'm grateful. Thank you so much for having me speak here tonight. I'm hopeful that I get to meet some of you or most of you in person at some point in the future. But I appreciate you having me here, and I appreciate being able to speak to you. And I'm also really grateful that my kids didn't walk in on this call. This is the very first Zoom call that my kids did not bomb or try to crash. So they're very good. I think it's because they're eating dinner right now. So, so thank you very much. And I'm happy to answer any questions. And if I don't have the answer for you now, I'm happy to get it for you in the future and email it to you.
Yes, Serenity, how do you, how's a person